How are we doing, people? Welcome back to another stream. We're gonna be discussing about F1, the weekend, and we're gonna be discussing about the Premier League as well. Joining me to discuss both of them, Augustia. How are you doing, bro?
Yeah, not too bad. I think compared to the last show that we did after that humiliating, horrible evening at Old Trafford, right? Theater
Yep,
of dreams into theater of nightmares. I think this
nightmares.
weekend was a lot happier for us, at least on the
Facts.
football. I'm
Football
not
side of things.
sure you share the same sentiment with F1, Ekavin.
As people might know, I am a Ferrari fan, and as a Ferrari fan myself, I'm going through tons of stress watching F1 because I told everyone I knew this race was going to go horribly wrong. I just knew from the moment that Leclerc got pole, I was like, I don't feel good about this. I knew he'd win in Monaco because Monaco was what? It's a straight line race. Like, let's just be real. Well, you can't overtake in Monaco. Monaco, it was Leclerc's all day. Like, if you get pole in Monaco, you ain't losing. Simple. You just ain't losing in Monaco. But in Baku though, like I do think Leclerc should hold a little bit of responsibility for the overtake because he lost a bit of grip with the hard tires, and I told you on chat yesterday, Leclerc should not have changed his tires. He should have kept it on the medium tires. He was cruising with 5 seconds ahead of Piastri. 5 seconds ahead of Piastri, right? And you go and change to the hard tires where you lose grip. Where I'll tell you where he lost grip. You know the long straight where Piastri overtook Leclerc.
Yeah,
That
the main,
curve,
the main straight.
that curve from the moment he came out of the pit lane, I knew I could see the grip. I could see he lost grip because everyone was catching up behind him. He almost got caught by Albon. Albon nearly caught him up, and I know Albon wasn't supposed to be there anyways because of the pit stop and everything. But
Yes.
Alex Albon was just 0.2 seconds behind him, 2 tenths of a second behind him, and imagine just imagine cruising, yeah. Imagine what you call what's a good example? Imagine the pen having such good ink. Imagine the pen's ink being completely fine, and you go and change the ink, and it just completely goes bosh. No ink, no ink
Yeah.
left.
Or the ball. Change the ball. Makes no sense. Change a perfectly normal ball into a flat ball.
Imagine blue makes it look nicer, but you go and change it to black.
Yeah,
Come
makes
on,
no
man.
sense. I mean, what
Come
I, what
on,
I would
man.
I,
Ferrari, man.
I wouldn't blame Leclerc necessarily. I don't
No,
think he
Leclerc is not to blame at all.
is.
At all.
Put it this way: optimal pace, optimal speed. By every metric, McLaren are quicker than Ferrari.
Yeah.
However, that overtake on that main straight, heading into the final turn and the first turn of the new lap, Leclerc was complacent. It
He was too
didn't look.
slow.
He thought that Oscar wouldn't have the opportunity to overtake him. Lo and
Yeah.
behold, Oscar did. And Oscar caught Leclerc napping. So by that means, yeah, Leclerc can look at himself in the mirror and say, hey, I should have done better. But
Mm.
simultaneously, I do think that eventually Oscar would have caught him because that McLaren is just way quicker than the Ferrari.
I,
And,
I, I can't deny that.
and we
McLaren's much faster.
100%, but also I think Ferrari and Mercedes as well, two brands with a very high profile, definitely a higher profile than McLaren in the modern day, definitely with more revenue generated, but also more invested in the franchises respectively.
Yeah.
You have to look at yourself and wonder, Ekovin, remember at the beginning of last season, do you know where McLaren were?
Where McLaren were, they were like
After the
what, fifth, fifth,
No, after the first two races, in fact, they were
or
10th.
last year? You mean last year, 10th?
Yes, they
No
were
way.
bottom, rock bottom. I
Mm-mm.
remember Lando and Oscar both failing to qualify out of Q1.
Yep.
Absurd. It is crazy. So the fact that McLaren have had this quick ascendancy is it speaks volumes. It shows you two things. One, a team
Yeah.
can progress within a year, right? They can make a jump from last to first because I think objectively, wouldn't you agree, McLaren are by far the fastest team on the grid
Yeah.
at the moment?
For
By
sure.
far, not even
I can't.
close.
I can't deny that. I think Red Bull have dropped levels right now. I think Red Bull just there's something wrong with the Red Bull car. I don't know what it is, but Red Bull were cruising at first, and then now they're just like what they made some changes or something, or McLaren just went. You know what? We're gonna take it to Red Bull, and Wow, just look at McLaren, man. They're on top right now. They're on top. Like, there's no denying they're gonna win the constructors championship. I had no doubts about that.
I
They will win the constructors championship. But Ferrari could have capitalized. Ferrari had that period where they were finishing podium after podium after podium. When Leclerc won his race, I was like, yep, Ferrari are in it. Ferrari are on it. And then what happens a week later? Sink. Ferrari just finishes. They got disqualified from Q3. They didn't even make it to Q3. They completely dropped. They completely just dropped, man. Ferrari had the chance to go and take it to McLaren this week. Now Piastri is just short of Leclerc. Verstappen's not going to win. And Verstappen's under a lot of pressure as well because he has to deal with Leclerc and Piastri coming behind him. Lando Norris is going to overtake him, or is he already ahead? Remind me, I'm not sure.
Yeah, can I just say something? We haven't mentioned this. Oscar Piastri, take a bow, son, because let's not forget this is his second year. He's just completed his first year, and to defend Charles Leclerc, who is still one of the best drivers in F1, period. No doubt about that. Ferrari, arguably the second best car behind McLaren, for I think the overwhelming majority of the race, to defend him within DRS range, within 1 second, without folding, without making a single mistake. That's impressive. Like, put it this way, I don't think even Lando Norris could have done what Piastri did that race.
No.
Because Piastri is, to me at least, I'm going to make such an unpopular statement here, but I truly, in my heart of hearts, believe this. I think Oscar Piastri is the most calm, collected, composed driver in the entire grid. I don't think anyone matches his composure because even Max, wheel to wheel occasionally, he shows some hostility, he shows some resentment.
Yeah.
He does get a little bit fragile. We've seen it with Lando, we've seen it with Lewis in 2021. Lewis himself is not peak capability at the moment. I think we'd all agree with that. Still the greatest driver of all time. But today, he's not as good as he was a few years ago. I think Oscar, you can even hear it. At the end of the race, he was calm. Not an ounce of emotion or vulnerability, which shows you, again, sure, McLaren is quick, but Oscar also made the difference. And I think he should be complimented and rewarded for it.
Oscar deserved the win. But
for sure.
Like I said, Ferrari should not have changed to the hard tires. I know everyone was changing to the hard tires. I know everybody on the grid did. But if Ferrari had made a second pit stop, they'd have dropped. Nobody would have. They wouldn't have got past anyone. Ferrari would have struggled to win the race if they had made a second pit stop. Because the hard tires were screwing them up. The medium tires, bro, he was 5 seconds ahead. Like I said, he was almost 6 seconds ahead. The one-stop shot, I didn't watch the Monza race, unfortunately, because I was at the pub the other day watching the United-Liverpool game. Well, just before that, just before the United-Liverpool game, I was watching at the pub with a few friends, watching football that day, sorry. I couldn't catch the F1 race. And I need to be reminded of what Leclerc did, or how he did it, because we need to review that Monza race as well. The Monza race, look, I heard you tell me Leclerc won with a one-stop strategy. Is that right?
Yeah. So what happened is everyone thought a two-stop strategy was the right strategy for that day. Everyone thought his tire degradation was very, very high, that surely you can't last on a one-stop strategy. And someone like Lewis Hamilton, for example, who has a history of winning with one-stop strategies, managing his tires better than everyone else, even he said one-stop strategy is delusional. So everybody but Leclerc went on the two-stop. And even the commentators around lap 42, 43, with a few laps to go, were like, Oscar Piastri will surely catch Leclerc. Lando Norris will surely catch Leclerc. But they were proven wrong. What happened was that wasn't just a Ferrari masterstroke. That was a Leclerc masterstroke.
Yeah.
I've told you this for a long time, Kevin. I said one of my biggest criticisms of Charles Leclerc was not about his driving skills, but was about his mentality.
His thinking, yeah.
Do you remember during the Binotto years? I remember you've been complaining a lot about Matteo Binotto.
Bro, I hated that guy, man.
Yeah. But I used to tell you, like, sure, Ferrari's strategy may be abysmal, but as a driver, you should recognize that. Like Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, the best of the best. Sometimes they just take it on their own stride. They get to dictate the fate of their own destiny. Leclerc didn't do that. For years, he didn't do that. But at Monza, he did. and he reaped the reward of that. It kind of reminds me of, do you remember Silverstone? Was it 2022 when Carlos Sainz won?
Sorry, which race again?
This was Silverstone, 2022 or 2023. Carlos Sainz won. That was
Oh yeah, and he
right.
overtook Leclerc. He
Yes,
overtook
yes.
Leclerc. Yes,
It-
I remember that. I was fuming, bro, because Leclerc had that race in the bag. Bro,
Yes,
Leclerc had that race in the bag, and he was going to win that race, and then the tires ruined him. And or was it there was an incident, and then they had to stop, and then they restarted the race again.
it wasn't the tires, Ekavin. It was the strategy. Ferrari's strategy towards him undermined him, but they wanted to employ the same strategy with Carlos Sainz. Instead, what did Sainz do? Sainz subverted that, and he said, "No, I don't want to comply with your strategy. I want to do whatever he did," which I don't remember precisely, so I'm not going to narrate. But my point here is, when Leclerc finally dictates what he wants to do, he reaps the reward. So I think for Charles Leclerc going forward, the championship is what? It is 70 points between Leclerc and Verstappen. Is that correct? I don't know the number myself.
Say it again. I couldn't figure
Is
that.
it? I think it's 70 points, give or take 10 on either side, between Max and Charles Leclerc in the championship.
I think it. Oh, right now, I think
Yes.
Charles Leclerc is ahead by. Sorry, I think Charles Leclerc is behind actually by like
Yes.
40 points, by 40 or 60 points. I'm not sure.
Great. I look, I'm gonna say something. I want to hear your thoughts on it because you're the Ferrari fan. I'm the neutral here. I, even with a gun to my head, I'd say the same thing. I think Leclerc can win this.
I don't think so.
You don't think there's a chance at all?
If Ferrari do what they did again yesterday in most of the races coming up, yeah, it's not happening.
No, I agree. By that metric, yes. But I'm saying in terms of pure pace, pure ability of the driver and the car, I think Leclerc can win this. Because remember, Ekavin, let's say you win every race till the end of the season. Then Leclerc wins the championship. Fine. That's unrealistic. That is unrealistic. We know that, right? He's not going to win every time. But even if he wins the majority of the races and Max continues to finish third row, fourth row, Leclerc is the winner. So I think, I don't know if I'm Leclerc, I look at that and just say, hey, we could do this.
Well, I mean, in 2022, it was Leclerc who started off better.
Yes.
I remember him winning the first two. The Ferrari got 1 and 2 in 2022, the first race. Was it in Saudi Arabia or something? They got 1 and 2.
Bahrain.
And the second race, I think it was 1 and 2. I think it was a 2 and 3, and then Verstappen won that race. And then Leclerc won in Melbourne, and he didn't win a race till he didn't win a race until what was it?
Monaco.
No, it wasn't. It was
Austria.
Silverstone.
It was also.
It was a race before. It was a race before the Silverstone one, or was it? It was the same day as Wimbledon final in 2022, where Djokovic won that one.
Austria. Yeah.
It was in Austria, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, So Austria. So he didn't win a race until Austria. And let's be real, Leclerc has only won 7 races in his life or something. I'm not sure, right?
Only?
I think so.
Wow.
I think so. But that just goes to show how dirty Ferrari have done to so many of the drivers. Vettel was done dirty. Schumacher, I'm sure, was done dirty plenty of times. The guy won with a 5-stop strategy. Like, let's be real. That's just goated. 5-stop strategy. That's just goated. Let's just be real. Right? And you've also got what's his name? I'm not sure if Senna ever raced a Ferrari. I have to be corrected, but
he did not.
Ferrari have had so many like top drivers in the last. They don't act like a big. They don't act like a big brand. They know Ferrari and F1 is just a cat. They're not a top like they're not a competitor. Michael Schumacher carried Ferrari. He carried Ferrari. He completely carried that team because Ferrari have not won a constructors championship ever since Michael Schumacher was around.
Yeah.
And now Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc have been done so dirty. Because so many times, yeah, like I said, Ferrari could have won with a one-stop strategy, but they chose to go for two, and then they lost grip of the race. Yesterday was just a prime example of why Ferrari's team is not good enough to compete. They're just not. They don't have the brains to compete. I told you on chat while Leclerc was up by 6. You could even show the chat. You can even show the stream. I showed you. I told you yesterday. Leclerc was winning. Keep the same. Keep the same tires. Don't change anything.
Yes.
I told you don't change anything. What did they do? Go to the hard tires, lose the grip, and lost the race. I told you I didn't have a good feeling about the race as well. And guess what? He lost the race. I knew it. From that moment, I knew it because Ferrari just always do this stupid shit where they're like, "Oh, we're winning. What should we do? Should we change it up?" And then they change it up, and it just goes to shit. It's happened so many times in the last 3 years, and it's become embarrassing, bro. It's embarrassing. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz is such a good duo of a driver. It
Correct.
is such a good duo, and you're not winning with this. Like, come on, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc are one of the best duos in F1 right now.
Yeah, and the fact that you're losing to Verstappen and Perez, with all due respect, Sergio Perez isn't in the same conversation as Sainz, right?
No, Perez
maybe a nice guy. Feels like what I said last week. Maybe a nice guy, but he's not as good from a capability and ability standpoint.
No, he's not.
You mentioned in your rant, Ferrari are like a cat. You know what that reminded me of, Hekavin? Man United. Two of the biggest franchises, for sure, without a doubt, unequivocally, in their sports, respectively, or at least in their leagues. Man United and Ferrari. Or
the most supported teams in their respective sport.
Sure, the ones that generate the most revenue and the ones that, like you said, most support.
Most supported.
The fact that both of them, with all the history, the heritage, the legends that they have, yet today they still have the money. They still have the money. Let's not forget, they still have the ownership. They still have the investment that can compete with anyone and everyone on any given day. However, the staff and even the squad, to an extent, don't act like the winningest team. That's a problem.
No.
I
think the squad is. I don't think the squad is the problem. I think Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz are, for me, one of the best. Like I said, they're one of the best duos in F1 right now. But the problem is the team upstairs is the problem. They're not making good enough decisions on the tires that they're supposed to run with. Because I'll tell you right now, I remember watching a race in 2022 as well. I'm gonna say 2022 because Ferrari had the best car that year. Everyone knew from the start Ferrari had the best car from the start.
No, for a few months, yes.
For a few months, and then they lost because the strategy didn't work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they had the best car to start the season. What happened was, I remember Leclerc had like a 5-second lead on Verstappen or something, and Verstappen caught up and won because the strategies didn't work, because they chose to pit when Verstappen was chasing him down, and Ferrari lost that race because Verstappen caught up. Ferrari had a good lead. I can't remember which race. I can't remember where, because I can tell you countless times where Ferrari had been done dirty. Yeah. Been so many times where two of their drivers, Sainz, got done dirty. I remember Sainz. I remember Leclerc yesterday after the race. The guy was saying, "Hey, when we changed to the hard tires," I was like, "Bro, I said the same thing as you, and I feel so sorry. I feel so sorry for you, man." Charles Leclerc, I know you will never watch my stream but if you are ever watching, well done, bro. Honestly, call it out. Next time something goes wrong, call it out. You did that in your post-match interview yesterday, and fair fucking play to you, because not many drivers would call it out. They would challenge the team on the radio. They'd be like, "Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Box." If Charles Leclerc knows something is wrong, he called it out. And I said the same thing. A lot of people said the same thing yesterday, I bet you. if you shouldn't have changed to the hard tires. I know everyone was changed to the hard tires, but everyone did a one-stop strategy. No one did two stops. That's at least the top 10 didn't do two stops. At least they did one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sorry, what were you saying? Continue what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely. You did call it out, and I'm firsthand witness and testament to this. You said it before, I think, almost anyone else, even before Crofty wasn't commentating. Sorry, the two commentators.
That was Crofty yesterday.
No, he wasn't there yesterday. He was.
Was it?
He was. No, it was somebody else. I forget his name every single time. If you're watching the stream, I'm so sorry. I forget your name. And Karun, the Hispanic.
Karun, yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't mention this. They didn't mention this at all during the race.
Karun's Indian.
Yeah. So you said it to me in the first stint. You said they should keep the medium tires, and you were right because objectively, not only was Leclerc pace for pace,
they had better grip,
but they had better grip. But everything they were better. So
better front wing as well. Because remember the turn at the straights, Leclerc couldn't catch up to Piastri. Every time down the straights, the guy was 0.2. But you know what? The turn was the problem. He couldn't turn, and if he had faster turn or at a better front wing, bro, he would have won the race yesterday with the hard tires. The only issue was the speed wasn't the issue. It was more at the turn, the first turn after the straight, the long straight. That's where I had the biggest issue with Leclerc yesterday. At times I was like, you could have maneuvered, you could have overtaken him. I was like, yeah, one of them you could have done it. There was no excuses for you there. However, the tires, the medium tires would have helped him cruise through the race, and that race for me was won. It was done. He had that race in the bag.
I mean, it's such a missed opportunity because in the context of the championship, the drivers, not the constructors, had Leclerc won, that would have been plus eight points.
Plus 25. It was 25 points to win. 16 comes second. He got 16 points.
He got 18. But that's
for two times having the fastest.
No. So if I'm not mistaken, I think Formula One changed their rules so frequently. I think
because you get plus. I remember you get +1 for having the fastest lap.
Yeah. So let's exclude that. Let's omit that.
Yeah.
It's 25 for the race winner. I think it's 18 for second place and 16 for third.
Yeah.
So again, it's a +6-7 gain. Again, I know you disagree with me on this, but I really, really think Charles had an outside chance of the championship. I still do, because Singapore is a street circuit. My goodness.
Yeah.
And
last year Ferrari won there. Sainz nearly got caught by Russell, and then Russell at the end was like, I felt so bad because he crashed into the wall. I felt so bad for him, man, because he actually nearly won, and Perez finished second behind him. Yeah, that was one of the best races I've ever watched in my life.
The race that got Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari. Because do you know the backstory to that race, Ekevin?
Yeah.
Basically, what happened is when Hamilton was on the podium, no Mercedes staff member celebrated with him, which is crazy. They basically ignored him. The only people that celebrated with him is, do you know what team?
Ferrari.
Yep, exactly. So they were the ones that are like Hamilton.
Explains why he's joining Ferrari next year.
One of the many reasons. So I wanted to ask you about this as a Ferrari fan.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be. I mean, sure, even if he's not your GOAT, we all know he's objectively the best driver this generation or last generation.
So the best driver is a lot of people have seen. Yeah.
Yeah, the most successful driver. Yeah, for sure. Most wins, most poles, most fast.
The best driver I've seen was Michael Schumacher, and I watched him when I was 5. Trust me, I liked him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's personal opinion. I mean, Hamilton has most wins, most fastest laps, most poles, he has every record in the book, humanly possible. But point being, what do you think? What's the objective? I think surely, as a neutral, it has to be win everything next season, right? Win the drivers, win the constructors.
I'm not worried about win the drivers. I'm more of constructors because look, Ferrari needs to get back on top. I think the driver. I'm not too concerned about who wins. I'd like a Ferrari driver to win. Look, it doesn't matter for me who wins. It really doesn't. I just want a Ferrari driver to win the championship. I don't really care who wins. I'm a Ferrari fan at the end of the day. I only support them because Michael Schumacher raced for them, and look at what he's done with Ferrari. He set the blueprint. He has set the benchmark for Ferrari.
Mhm.
He was the reason why Ferrari are where they are today. Are a big name. It's like LeBron James going to the Lakers. For Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari, it's like LeBron James going to the Lakers. Let's just be real. That that right there, that right there is a very similar move. You have remember when Ronaldo went back to United, you had LeBron going to the Lakers, you had what's his name?
Brady to the Bucks, if you want.
Brady to the Bucks, yep.
Yep.
Or even
Come on,
what's
we
his
got to get
name?
one example. Ekvin, you and I watch too much sport. One more example. We have to do this.
Shohei Ohtani to the LA Dodgers.
Angels, I think. Angels, yeah.
No, Shohei Ohtani to the LA Dodgers.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, I was just gonna check.
No one's beating the Dodgers this year. Let's be real. But yeah, I just want to move on. Let's talk about what happened in the race yesterday. Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez. I want to know your thoughts on that because that for me was one of the most. That was crazy. It was a 4 driver race up until let's say the last 2 laps. And for me, I'm gonna give my thoughts on this one first. Yeah, I think Carlos Sainz did recklessly yesterday. I'm a massive Carlos Sainz fan, right? But you, my friend, were reckless as hell yesterday. That was reckless from you. I'm sorry. I can't blame Perez one bit. Perez tried to overtake him, and Sainz cut through, and it hit the back wheel. It hit the back of his back wheel, and the car got damaged. So both cars had to retire from the race. But I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what happened. I want to ask you. What do you think? What do you think? How do you think it happened? Do you think it was planned? Do you think it was on purpose? Do you think it was accidental? What are your thoughts? Like it was a crazy end to the race yesterday.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I echo everything you said there. Again, don't get it twisted. I think I think Carlos Sainz is a better driver than Checo Perez, without a doubt. Without a doubt, especially mentally throughout the season. But one thing about Checo Perez that nobody can deny, nobody can take away from him, regardless of his issues and slumps with Red Bull, on a street circuit, he's a specialist. He's a street circuit specialist, whether that's Baku, whether that's Singapore, whether that's Monaco. He cooks. He cooks a lot over there. So I think, but so I do feel bad for him, of course, because it wasn't his fault. You just have to wonder, what was Carlos Sainz doing? Was there any malicious? Was it malicious, or was it
I think it was to stop Red Bull. I think at the same time that was scripted. It could have been scripted, however, I think it was an intent to prevent Checo from overtaking him. That's what I thought.
Okay, let's hypothetically. Let's say that narrative here is correct. It was scripted. It was malicious. It was a malicious maneuver. Even then, why would Sainz do that? Because the net gain for Ferrari is less.
Yeah.
Because had Sainz points been registered, I think Ferrari would have I don't know what it is. They would have been close or overtaken Red Bull. I don't know what Sainz was thinking. It doesn't make sense to me. And remember, you at the beginning of the season, you did tell me that you thought Sainz was better than Leclerc, right?
I did. But now my mind's changed again and again and again.
I just don't think that. One, look, if I'm team principal, if I'm Fred Vasseur, I think of this in two ways. I think of one, from a competitive standpoint, I think Leclerc's the better driver. Why? On a Saturday, yes, points are won on a Sunday. But on a Saturday, Ekvin, who's the better qualifier? Leclerc or Sainz? Leclerc. Right? I mean, I would go this far as to say Leclerc's the best qualifier in F1, period. He's better than Verstappen. He's going to beat Hamilton next season in qualifying. I have no doubt about that.
Do you think so?
Yeah, for sure. Because look at Hamilton this season in qualifying. It's been awful. He himself, self-admittedly, has been like, I'm not as good as I used to be. But on a Sunday, Hamilton will beat Leclerc. That's what I think. But back to my point here, I think Leclerc, one, competitively is better. And also commercially, he generates far more revenue for Red Bull than Carlos Sainz ever would. And Carlos Sainz is a great person, from what we understand, but Leclerc just, he's more marketable. So my point here is, I just wonder, what was Carlos Sainz thinking there? It makes no sense to me. I don't understand why.
I don't think he should have done that because
Oh,
that not only ruined Checo's race but his own race as well.
yes.
It could have, and it gave Oscar Piastri a free path to the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, it literally did.
Because the safety car was out, so you can't overtake.
VSC, yeah.
So that handed him the race pretty much. The only way that wouldn't have happened is if Piastri just hit the wall or something, which he nearly did. And at one point, Leclerc was like, "Oh, he's struggling." Yeah, he was struggling, but you lost grip. So, yeah, I mean, I want to ask you this last question. I mean, one of the last few points on F1 before we move on to the Premier League side of things. What is your prediction on the final championship? Who do you think is going to win the constructors, and who do you think is going to win the drivers' championship?
Ooh, you put me on the spot, Ekevin. I'm not sure. I will say this. I think, without a doubt, Max and Red Bull, at the moment, on pure form, are the third best team. No doubt about it. I think maybe Max just edges it, only for one reason. Because I think Ferrari and McLaren eat into each other's points. I think because they're both able to win both championships, they'll eat into each other's. I think McLaren will take the constructors because both of their drivers are the most reliable. I think they've taken the lead for the first time since 2014.
I think,
but I think on the drivers, I think it's a three-way race between Max, Lando, and Leclerc, and I would not put it past either or because
don't forget Piastri as well. Piastri is still in it.
I don't think Piastri has enough points. His first half of the season wasn't good enough. You know what's interesting? I saw a stat. If the championship started 7 races ago, Ekevin, do you know where Piastri would be?
Where would he be?
First.
Really?
Yeah, he would be first, followed by Lewis Hamilton. So, again, his first half of the season wasn't good enough. But I think it's between 3 drivers. I really do believe that Lando and Leclerc have a massive opportunity, especially Lando. So what I would say here is, I had before Baku, I had Leclerc. After Baku, I'm going to stick with Max.
I had the table up here as well,
Nice.
so you guys can see Verstappen's on top, Norris second, Leclerc is third, Piastri's in fourth. So Verstappen's on top with 313 points. Lando's behind with 254 points. Leclerc is 235 and Oscar Piastri is 222. Look, yeah, I agree with you. I think Piastri is a bit too far out. Leclerc, I don't think he's going to do it. No, I think he'll finish third. For me, it really depends on what Lando and McLaren do next week. Because if Verstappen gets his form back, yeah, he's going to run away. He's going to run away with it. But next season, I think is where it gets interesting. Because I think McLaren and Ferrari are going to battle it out for the Constructors' Championship.
Would you discount Max completely? I wouldn't.
I won't discount him. I'm talking about constructors only. Red Bull and I don't think Checo Perez will be where he was last year compared to next year.
Do you think that he will even be a Red Bull driver next season?
Because that's a good question. No, I think he signed a new deal, didn't he, till 2025 or something.
Red Bull have a history of terminating deals mid-contract, so they can do that with Checo.
Carlos Sainz will go to the Williams, so next year, I think he's going Williams, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? He's gone to the Williams, right? Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, but if I was Red Bull, I would have taken him. So
he used to race for Red Bull, didn't he? He used to be a Red Bull driver, didn't he? I think so.
I mean, Toro Rosso, yes. I don't know about Red Bull. I think briefly, maybe. Because I know Pierre Gasly, I know Albon, I know Perez. They did. I don't know about Sainz.
Yeah. I hear that. Yeah, but at the same time, like, I still think, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go with the bold prediction here. I'm gonna go with Lando Norris to win the whole thing this year. Because I think Verstappen is on a huge drop off right now, and it really depends what happens in Singapore. I'm gonna give my prediction again after Singapore. So we're gonna do this F1 race. We're gonna do this F1 reviews weekly, people. So tune in, and obviously the constructors championship. Yeah, I'm going with McLaren. I think McLaren are gonna run away with it. Ferrari and McLaren can battle it out for it. I think Ferrari can still win the constructors championship, but I think McLaren just have it in the bag. I don't see a world where McLaren throws this away now. Red Bull, yeah, Perez is too far out for Verstappen. Verstappen has carried Red Bull. Let's be real. Verstappen has carried Red Bull in the last few years, the last 3-4 years. 2021, all on him. 2022, him again. 2023, him again. He had Red Bull on his back, even though Perez last year had a good season, but the year before, Perez Perez had how do you say it? Verstappen has carried Red Bull on his back for at least two out of the last three championships that he's won. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts? Or this one?
I I think with the exception of 2021, yes, it's been Verstappen carrying Red Bull. I think in fact,
Yeah.
even if you remove Perez and it was just a one-man team, I think Verstappen would win the constructors championship alone in
They
22.
won. They won every race last year. Ferrari was
Yeah.
the only one that broke them last year in Singapore.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the exception. That doesn't define the rule. What I would
Yeah.
say is, look, if I'm Helmut Marko and Christian Horner, I would replace Perez. I think great. He brings commercial revenue in from Mexico, but the net gain and loss with the competitive standpoint is too big. I mean, Checo Perez, sure, even yesterday it was unlucky with the DNF. Fine. You can't be eighth. You can't be eighth in the Constructors' Championship with a Red Bull car that was, for half of the season, by far the best.
Yeah.
So I think they have to replace him. But who is
Imagine all that dough and you're still eighth.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness, but not even the dough. It's just the quality of the car. Like, who would it be? Would it be
Yeah,
Daniel
it's
Ricciardo?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to Perez, man. Like the guy was cruising last year and he just dropped off massively this year. Like, I don't understand.
I mean, I think he was cruising in with Racing Point, Force
Yeah.
India, and Red Bull. Do you remember 2021 Abu Dhabi, the most controversial Grand Prix in Formula One history? It was Perez held up Hamilton for a long time. He was very,
Yeah.
very. Without Checo Perez, Max wouldn't have won that first drivers' championship. So I don't know what's happened in 22, 23, 24, but Perez has dropped off more than even any F1 driver or footballer could have imagined.
Yeah. I mean, look, Ferrari and Red Bull for me, like the last year Ferrari didn't do well. This year they're doing a lot better. McLaren, I'm gonna give my final thoughts on them. I think they'll do it this year. So yeah, so we both agree with McLaren and we both agree with. I think maybe Max might do it. I'm going with Lando Norris just to spice the prediction up a little bit.
I hope.
But yeah, honestly, anyone but Verstappen at this point right now. I'm tired of Verstappen winning, man. The guy is just dominating. How do you say it? He's dominating F1 right now.
No, but can I say something?
But the points are not far off. The points are not. It's not many points off.
Before you segue, with Max,
Yeah.
I don't know, Matt. No race wins in 4 months. That's a bit crazy. Like if you had told anyone 4 months ago that Max would get a race
4
win,
months?
4 months, yes, I can
I
heard me
thought
right.
I thought it was 2.
No, 4.
Verstappen hasn't won a race in 4 months.
Yes. So if you had told anyone 4 months ago, I would have told them, what drugs are you taking? Because 4 months is crazy. So
He last won in Spain, bro.
Yes. Isn't that?
And Spain was 4 months ago.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2.
No.
There's no fucking way. When was the last one? In June or something?
No, early May.
Early May.
So my point here is Max. Also, I mean, Max is no doubt about it. I think Max is a top 5 driver.
That's crazy, bro.
That's an unpopular opinion, but for a top 5 driver, I don't think he's really made the difference when Red Bull haven't had the car. Would you agree with that, Akavin? Because like when they've not had the car to compete for wins, he's lost places to Lando, to Lewis. Do you remember Hungary a few weeks ago? Lewis schooled him completely.
Yep.
So it's
To
like,
Russell,
yeah, even
to
George Russell,
Leclerc,
even George, yeah. So
Sainz even.
I don't know, man. I think Max. I think it's
Sainz finished ahead of him yesterday. Well,
yeah.
sorry, I forgot.
No, he
But
did, no,
he
he
was
didn't.
ahead of. But he was ahead for most of the. But he was ahead for most of the race still.
Yeah. So I mean, my point here is, I don't know. I think Max. If I think Max continues to finish fifth or sixth till the end of the season. So if one of Leclerc and Lando can take initiative, it's their championship to win. It's
Yeah,
theirs to win.
I agree. All right, people, we're gonna move on to the football segment now. Thank you for listening to the F1 segment. I thought it was good fun actually talking about F1. We should do this more often. F1. We should do this more often. We need to do it with a lot of F1 talk more because I think F1 is starting to get interesting now, especially with Singapore coming up. I can't wait to see what Singapore. Also, actually, before we move on, what's your prediction for Singapore? Who do you think will win Singapore? If you have to give a prediction now, if you just had to give one now, like you can name anyone.
So Singapore is a street circuit. I don't
Yeah,
know the upgrades, but
it's hard to overtake in Singapore as well.
I'll say that Checo and Max they finished next to each other. I don't know in what order. I don't think Max wins. Um, I don't know. I think this. I feel like we're gonna get safety car in this race because
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
yeah. Last
very
time we had safety car as well.
yeah. It's very narrow. I feel like it's very narrow. So we're gonna get safety car. I don't know. I feel like this could be a race that someone like Lewis Hamilton or George Russell out of nowhere capitalizes on. But for Lando Norris and Leclerc, if you want to win the championship, you have to win this race. What
I
about you,
think.
Ek?
Do you know what I think? I'm gonna go with Carlos Sainz to win this race.
Good pick.
Throw it back to last year, because Carlos Sainz had the best car on the grid last year, on the Singapore grid last year. Like no one was gonna beat that. Well, almost got beat by Perez, but like it was close. And I don't know. I have a good feeling about Carlos Sainz because this week he was doing quite well with the medium tires and the hard tires. I mean, sorry, I think he crept into the top three and he was doing well, but I don't know. I I'm gonna go with Carlos Sainz, and I think Charles Leclerc just comes second or third, and I think Lando comes second or something like that. I think it'll be a Ferrari, Red Bull, a Ferrari, a McLaren, top four finish,
I like
top
that.
three, top four finish. All right, so we're gonna move on to football now. Any final thoughts before we move on officially?
I mean, yeah, I don't know if you know this, Kevin. I just found this out. After Singapore, there's a 1 month break for an F1 race.
Right. Yes, I know that. And
I-
where's that? Where's the next race afterwards?
I think it's in Texas.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, it's Circuit of the Americas. So, I mean, yeah, we got to talk F1 next week because next week I think will be very crucial in the whole championship.
We'll go through it again next week because 100% we have a whole month off to preview F1, so we're gonna do this more often. Right, people, we're gonna move on to the football segment now. We're gonna start off with obviously Manchester United. We won 3-0. We beat Southampton. Both of you United fans, people in the chat, anyone don't know, we are United fans. But the main talking point was Liverpool. What happened to Liverpool? What happened, man? You were talking up so much the last few weeks, no? What's gone into you? You were talking so much shit to us in the last few weeks. I know you beat us at our own gaff, and trust me, I'm fine with that, yeah. But the fact of the matter is, you lost at home to Nottingham Forest. How? Just how? Like, talk to me, bro. How do you think that happened?
I think it was Nottingham Forest who defended deep, very organized, with men behind the ball.
Yeah.
However, as much as I would like to give Forest credit, and I like to say it was completely on them, I do feel like Liverpool, particularly people like Mo Salah, were very ineffective. They were very sloppy. How many times? I don't think I could count on my 10 fingers how many times Mo Salah misplaced a simple pass. He was whack.
Oh, he was dreadful. And you know what's even
he
worse?
was. Yo,
I
what was
brought him in my FPL team this week.
me too, dude. I wildcarded. So
I sacrificed Saka, who got an assist for Gabriel, for Salah.
Yeah,
For Mo Salah.
mate. So I removed Ollie Watkins from Mo Salah, basically.
Oh, that's tough. I had to keep my front line. I kept João Pedro, and that was a huge mistake. I should not have kept João Pedro. I didn't even know he was gonna play. You know, I didn't even know he was. I didn't even know he was gonna play. I had him in my team, and I had Harry Winks off my bench, and I was like, yeah, I'm screwed.
Dude, I added him in as well. So my point here is, I
could have brought him Welbeck.
So Nuno Espirito Santo, very effective. Yep. If he could have a dream, a utopian dream about how that day at Anfield would go, for a man who's not won a single game against Liverpool in his whole career, at Wolves.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has.
Against
he was he was the manager that won at Anfield with Wolves in the FA Cup in 2018 or 2019, or was it 2017, 18? I'm not sure.
Okay, but in the league specifically, he hasn't won in the league at all against Liverpool.
No, he hasn't won in the league against Liverpool. You're right. In the league, but in the cups,
but thank you for correcting me there. Again, for him, if he had dreamt the night before of a better outcome, he couldn't have, because that was almost
you couldn't have.
That was sitting back a very, very low block, basically avoiding and mitigating any threat from Liverpool.
When Wolves scored,
he made Salah look like your average Sunday league player, because Salah was awful.
Salah was dreadful. He kept he kept mispassing. He kept misplacing his passes.
He couldn't.
He was dreadful.
He couldn't hone down the fundamentals.
But it was amazing to see. It was just amazing to see.
Oh yeah. I agree. From a Protestant standpoint, I agree. But then they only had, what was it, 1 or 2 shots? And Callum Hudson-Odoi, that screamer, my goodness, precise. Wow. Fair play. What did you make of it, Ekavin? Because I thought, I did think Nottingham Forest were worthy of a draw, at least, at the minimum.
I was like, Liverpool first half, I was like, yeah. First, second half, they'll smash Forest. Then Forest just kept on winning every single ball, every interception, everything. They just kept on winning everything defensively. They were defensively sound, and I was like, surely Forest have a good chance. They were starting to get some shots off and stuff. Then I was like, yeah, you man must win the game. Liverpool. I was like, if you make a mistake, Liverpool will capitalize. It's Liverpool. Like, let's not get it twisted. It's still one of the best teams in the Prem. Callum Hudson-Odoi takes a shot from outside the box and scores an absolute what a smash! What a goal! What a goal, man! From outside the box, the guy scores an absolute banger of a goal, right? And and from then I was like, Forest, you man better hold on now. It's 1-0. It's 1-0 Nottingham Forest. I was so happy with the goal. But then, as soon as like the final 10 minutes came, I was like, yeah, it's gonna get tense. You just gotta hold on now. And what happens? They held on. They got the win. And surprise, Liverpool have lost more games at Anfield in the last 5 games than they lost in the last 53. Wow, crazy. The last loss was, I think, at home to Brentford or something. I'm not sure. But people, I am going to welcome a very special guest. He's one of my bestest friends ever, man. Honestly, I couldn't have been happier to invite him on my show today. Gian, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show, man.
How are you doing?
Yeah, we're good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, my camera is not working.
It's all right, bro. It's all good.
I'm trying my best here, but
yeah, talk to us, man. What do you think? Did you watch the Liverpool game on Saturday?
No, so I only watched one game. As you can expect, was the mighty Blues getting their much-deserved win against Bournemouth.
You man have Jadon Sancho now, don't you?
Yeah, so I want to discuss
man of the match in 45 minutes. 45 minutes, man of the match.
Yeah, I want to
crazy,
discuss
man.
And
yeah, go ahead, man.
Discuss also Big Ange coming under fire. Whereas they already want to sack him because they're really So 2 things.
But quickly, can we talk about United first as well? I just want to mention something about the United game as well. I thought United won 3-0. You know, it was a good win at the end of the day. I mean, At first, we was a bit on the back foot. We was on the back foot the whole from the first, let's say, the first 2 or 3 minutes until when Onana saved that penalty. And I think from that then onwards, United pushed on because that penalty save woke us up. Southampton, had they scored those 2 chances, different game. They scored that penalty, different game. Trust me, we ain't coming back from that because mentally we're awful.
Yeah.
But what do you have to make of it?
What I would say is, I think the first 30 minutes before we scored, I thought Southampton were the better side. I thought they were by far the better side. Yes, it was an end-to-end game, but most of the ball was in our half, which means they had possessions. They were creating the chances. They were the ones that looked the most threatening. And if it wasn't for that Onana save, I feel like that game could have gone a completely different way.
Yeah, trust me.
Erik ten Hag, I think he can be praying to Andre Onana tonight. Because without Onana, I feel like that would have been a completely different game.
Completely different.
I was, on the balance of play, before that first goal, I truly and deeply thought that Southampton were the better side. And for the value, for the amount that we've invested in that team, even De Ligt, who I understand he scored.
I feel so happy for him. What a goal, man. Great header.
Satisfied for him. But before that, every single player in that team got rinsed man for man by Southampton. Do you remember when
we were chasing the ball, bro? We were chasing the ball for 30 minutes against Southampton, bro. It's peak.
It felt like we were the inferior team. So my point here is, sure, 3-0 is a very compelling result, but in terms of the rhetoric and the performance, beyond underwhelming, because imagine if Pep Guardiola, we have to hold ourselves to the highest standard, the utmost high standard. And if we're trying to win league titles, that performance is not good enough.
It's not good enough. I agree with you completely.
We'll take the win for sure. 3-0 is great, but there's a lot of work to do. And we are still, again, I don't think we're anywhere near the top of the league. And that's a tragedy. We shouldn't be like that.
Well, at the moment, we are 3 points off of how'd you say it? We are 3 points off of Arsenal. However, I just want to say this, Southampton had 10 men for the last 10 minutes of the game. I was like, you got to go and score 3, 4, and 5 now. United just took it too easy. I think we should have got our goal difference up. This was the game to get our goal difference up because we were cruising. I have to say Ugarte as well. Great cameo. Came on, did his job. Solid. Didn't put a foot wrong. Completely came on and just took control of the game. I have to say this about Kobbie Mainoo though. Kobbie Mainoo cannot play as a lone 6. The guy is struggling in the lone 6. He has to be a further forward 10. He has to play in the 10. The guy cannot play as a lone 6. He is struggling. When you've got 2 players like Bruno and Eriksen, right? Eriksen had a very good game on the weekend. I'm not denying that. But my issue is you cannot play 2 attacking mids and Mainoo, who for me is not a 6. Let's just keep it real. He's not a 6. He showed it to me on Saturday. He got bullied off the ball at times. I was like, you know what, bro, play him in the 10. The guy's gonna cook in the 10. I'm not saying he is this player. I'm gonna mention this guy, yeah. I'm not saying he is this player. He's not the next this player. But he reminds me of the way Paul Pogba plays. The way he drives the ball forward, it reminds me a little bit about Paul Pogba. I'm not saying he's Paul Pogba, all right. But what I'm trying to say is play him where his strengths are. If he's better at driving the ball forward and as a roaming playmaker, play him in the 10. And you can drop Bruno to the 8 with Ugarte next to him or something. Because Mainoo is struggling in the 6. I'm just going to say this again. He cannot play as a lone 6. There's 2 attacking mids who will be running away from the ball. I'll take an example against Liverpool. Collier and Bruno Fernandes for the 3rd goal were away from him. Dalot was his only support. But let's be real. He's not a 6. And I'm going to say this again. He should be as a 10. But I don't know. What are your final thoughts on United before you move on to Chelsea?
I agree with you on Mainoo. But to play devil's advocate, why does Ten Hag play him so deep? I think it's because he can trust Mainoo's first touch. He can trust Mainoo's awareness. He can trust that when Mainoo receives the ball under pressure, he's going to do the right thing with it. And Casemiro was never that player. Even at peak,
Casemiro's not going to ping a good pass.
He was never that player. He's never got under pressure. No. Even at Real Madrid, he's not good under pressure. So we can trust Mainu in that position. I think once Ugarte grows into the game, grows into the team, then you'll
Yeah.
see Mainu pushed back further forward. But as a temporary measure against a team that's going to press you, yeah, I can totally see why Mainu is the 6. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, I just because the thing is Southampton, they're not the type of team to keep the ball. Like they're not the type of team to how do you say it? String 4 or 5 passes together. But we allowed them to yesterday, but we shouldn't have. And in the first half yesterday, I thought we were poor, and like I said, a lot of our players need to take responsibility for this because you can't be chasing the ball against Southampton. Let's be real. You have to go from the get go, and we didn't do that. The first few minutes we were winning the ball back. We were doing fine up until the third, fourth, fifth minute or something, and we just lost control of the game. That was not a typical Manchester United performance because yesterday we looked a lot better than most games. However, against Barnsley on tomorrow night, I'm expecting a much better performance from a rotated team. Even a rotated team, I'm expecting a much better performance. But yeah, we're gonna move on to Chelsea now. Chelsea, Jadon Sancho debut, 45 minutes, man of the match. Give me your thoughts on that game.
Yeah, so I mean, I like the way we set up. I definitely see the picture coming together under Enzo Maresca. I like how we got in that sort of 3-box-3 shape really well.
Yeah.
With Disasi coming as like the right center back, Colwell left center back. I just don't trust either Fofana or Disasi fully. The Crystal Palace game was Fofana making all the errors. This game it was Disasi making a couple big errors. So I just don't trust them defensively. But as a build-up, I think you can't find a better back line in terms of on the ball in the entire Premier League. In terms of ball playing ability, these 3 are the best in the league. So Maresca knows what he's doing on that front. But defensively, they're not even in the top half in the league, let's say, in terms of defensive ability. So you have this sort of issue. And then I think that's also why he plays Renato Vega in left center midfield, sort of tucking him to cover that space there and close down. Cucurella would invert, but he'd invert really high up the pitch. So he'd almost be like an 8. And Vega would be dropping next to Caicedo. And it was sort of like, to keep it compact, to create these sort of short passing lanes, but also, prevent teams from playing through them. I like that. It kept a clean sheet, so it worked. I'd like to see Lavia in that role instead of Vega, but Vega was great. And Vega could be a fantastic left back coming in like Cucurella. He could do that job very well. And he could even be a left center back going where Colwell does. So very versatile player. Can play 3 positions. Didn't cost too much. I know that's what the pundits will go on about when it comes to Chelsea. It didn't cost too much and looks like a solid player. So very good recruitment from Clear Lake and Don Bowley in this case. Rare but shrewd move for a good value. Then I thought going forward, it's clear. There's so many talented players. They got Neto, Palmer, Madueke, Nkunku, Felix, and Jackson. Sort of 6 players who can,
come off the bench.
Player.
Yeah, you've got a lot of game changers in that team, man. Trust me. I think Chelsea have a good squad now. Last season, look, it was more Cole Palmer and like taking control of the team. Like, I think it was more like you played around Cole Palmer, but now I think Chelsea have a whole team to play around. I think your back line might still be a bit of an issue because you are still leaking a bit at the back. However, I think your attack, your midfield is just solid. I think Lavia when 100% healthy can be so crucial for you guys. I think you've got Sancho now. Sancho's at Chelsea, and you know what? Fair play to him. The guy came off the bench and he got an assist.
Every touch was perfect from Sancho. Every time he got the ball, he drove it forward. He didn't lose the ball. I think maybe he lost it once the whole game. Like I can remember. Every time he got the ball, it was positive. Slipping players through, playing smart passes in behind, spotting things, and it was never like selfish. He only took players on to create space and then lay it off immediately. And
that's what
fantastic team player. And after the game, they asked Enzo Maresca, like, was this a good game for Sancho? Was it a necessary game for Sancho to have that kind of performance? And Maresca goes, why? There's no problem with Sancho. He doesn't need anything. He's great. There's no problem with him. Which I thought was the most amazing answer from Maresca. So yeah, that's the verdict, guys. Sancho, no problems. Great kid, good on the training ground, works hard, and is a team player. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look,
I hope Eric Ten Hag hears this.
based on what you, I hadn't heard the Enzo Maresca press conference, but based on what you told me, that is an unbelievable answer. That's
Yeah,
a very shrewd, acute answer.
Yeah.
Because again, the whole mainstream media, the whole British Sky Sports, BBC, whatever it is, they're all placing the blame on Jadon Sancho. They're not proportionately evaluating the story. So the fact that Enzo Maresca has basically liberated blame from Jadon Sancho is great. That is very, very good man management. And from the outside, as a United fan, I think Gyan, you should be encouraged because a Chelsea manager that has the wherewithal to spare withal, has the man management, is good. And it bodes well. Again, it'll take time to implement his system, for sure. No doubt about it. But if he has the rhetoric and if he can deal with the media, because that's a big factor in England. Maybe not in other countries, but in England, for sure. That's encouraging. So to hear that about Sancho, which again, I think Ekevin and I both agree with this. I think Sancho was harshly treated by Eric Ten Hag, right? I think harsh,
100%. He's made scapegoat by Ten Hag. Let's be real. I don't think there's any issues there.
For sure. I mean, we discussed this a few weeks ago on the show about all the high wage earners, whether that's Ronaldo, De Gea, Sancho, whoever it was, being scapegoated by Ten Hag, Varane, for example. But it's good to see that Maresca is prioritizing the system and the standards over all the politics that comes with football. So I'm happy to hear that. But obviously, from a personal standpoint, United versus Chelsea, no, I'm not.
Look, I mean, Joshua Zirkzee was also doing similar things on the weekend. I thought he was also good as well. Like he was picking players through the pockets as well. Like he was doing little flicks with like Ahmad, with like I thought Rashford also had a good game on Saturday as well. I don't often credit Rashford, but he had a good game on Saturday. And look, I would have liked to see Sancho, Ahmad, and Zirkzee because you know what? Those three flicking the ball with each other, like playing these one little touch passes together, would have been so fun to watch. Like it would have been so much joy. Because look, I just want United to do well and win games comfortably, not grind it out every single week because we don't often play well. Saturday was just, I think, I'm not going to say this is in a bad way, but we found our kind of level on Saturday. But I mean, you know what? Back to Chelsea. I think. Look, you've got a lot of players like Nkunku's come off the bench. Felix come off the bench. Yeah. You've got players like Sancho. You've got what's his name? You've got Vega. You've got you've got so many players. Like Chelsea could rotate every single week. You're going to the Europa. You're going to the Conference League next week. Is that or this week? Is that next week?
Following.
The following week. So you have players that can just like you can play any team you like. You don't even have Sancho in the you don't even have Sancho for the Conference League squad. Do you have? But do you have Cole Palmer or do you
we've got. I think I haven't seen the squad, but I'd imagine we've got everybody else except for of the players because Maresca said he split the squad up into 20 and 20 whatever it was before. So I assume whichever 20 he named plus Sancho is the squad he's working with, and he's got the 20 in the Conference League. But no, I mean, I think it's really easy to settle into a team when the role and system is very well defined.
Yeah.
So that makes it easy for Sancho to settle in because Maresca has a very clear image of what he wants, and he's done a good job to implement it. You know, despite we haven't had the best start results-wise, but you can see the picture very clearly. And the other thing I'd say about squad depth, and I made this point talking about this like the other day. I made this point. Like, it's one thing having depth where the players who are waiting in the wings are young players like Sancho, like Felix, who are eager to, and Nkunku, who are eager to prove themselves. Yeah. And their mentality is, I need to play well to earn a spot in this team. Versus before, when Chelsea also had a big squad, but the players in the reserve were players like Ziyech and Jorginho, who believe that they deserved a starting spot and would actively undermine the coach uh, during that time. They actively undermined Lampard, and they became regulars when Tuchel came in. I don't
Yeah.
think the players that are in reserve are those kind of characters who are going to try and undermine Maresca, especially when they see Maresca fighting for them, like Sancho does, uh, which is a big contrast to his previous manager who threw him under a bus. I
Yeah.
think that it will make them loyal. It will make them work for the team, and it will make them when they are benched, they're not going to kick up a fuss. They're going to be like, okay, cool, we'll work, and we'll come back next week and try and get a starting lineup. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, where do you think Sancho's best position is? Do you think he's in the 10, or do you think he's on the left, or
On
you
the
think
left, for sure. On the left,
on
he
the
was
left
devastating, for sure. He's got the space to move, space to operate. Devastating.
against tired legs as well? I mean,
Yeah,
you bring him on late in the game, he can beat defenders who have tired legs. I mean, yeah. Um, I also want to discuss about. I want to know your thoughts on like, just what has impressed you so much about Chelsea as a whole this season? Like, have you what improvements do you think need to be made, and what do you think need to be what needs to be, how do you say it, and what do you think can be improved on? What do you think has improved? Excuse me.
look, I think we dominate games now, right? We
Yeah,
dominate games more than we did under Pochettino.
yeah,
The issue is us just keeping clean sheets, and we did that last night or 2 nights ago. That's all you needed, that because we score goals, we have the quality to score goals. We could put 6 past Wolves. Um, so the issue is not scoring goals. The issue is keeping them out, and I
yeah,
think a clean sheet is a huge confidence boost to the team. So hopefully we keep it going. But it's been like this for 3 years now, where it's one win, super positive. We think we finally reached, the point where the Todd Bowley era kicks off and we start winning games, and then immediately the next week we go and have the worst performance of our lives. I've seen this for 3 years now, so I'm not gonna hold any hope until we actually get like 3-4 wins together. Then maybe we can talk.
we've got the Carabao Cup tomorrow. Obviously, United play Barnsley at home. Um, just want to know your thoughts, Augusti, on the game tomorrow. And what would you like to see? What team would you like United to pick out?
Oh, I didn't know you were playing because Chelsea's playing next week. For some reason.
Because we don't have Europa League this week. You guys have Conference League this week. Is that right?
No, we have nothing this week. We have EFL Cup next week and Conference the week after.
Oh, because we have conference next. Sorry, we have Europa next week, and we have Carabao Cup this week. That's why I think because the TV deal.
Maybe.
Yeah,
because they want to put us on Sky Sports, but
Yeah,
I
also
just want to know.
because the,
Yeah.
the Champions League turned into the MIDI version, the Poundland version of the Super League. That's
Yeah.
basically what happened.
Oh yeah, I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on this new format of the Champions
Shite.
League? And
It's fucking shite, mate.
you have to play 8 games now, and to play through January, December, January as well. It used to be during, like, let's say, it used to be from September till December, early December, and you had to wait till February. But now everyone plays the game, and there's also playoffs if you qualify from 9 till around 16, because there's like 8, because you only allow 16 teams to qualify for the next round, and the bottom teams just get knocked out.
Yeah.
But I want to hear your thoughts on, obviously the Barnsley game tomorrow. What do you think, and what team would you like to see?
But Barnsley obviously knock out all the good teams, so we have an easy run.
I mean,
That's
you'd have to rotate. You'd have to exploit youth. You'd have to see new different players, and more importantly, I want to see a system. I want to see a style of play. It's Barnsley, for God's sake. It's Barnsley. With all due respect, we're Manchester United. We should see a proper philosophy. We should see a proper style of play. I just want to see us win, but also integrate some youth players in. But play a style of play that we can
I
also
want to see.
as
I like to
fans.
see players like Toby Collier play tomorrow. I like to see players like Amas and stuff like that play tomorrow. But I want to see them play with. I want to see the system actually work tomorrow, because if there is a system, so-called system, then I'd like to see some of the young lads play. I'd like to see Manu in the 10. Obviously, he's not going to do that, but I want to see Manu play tomorrow to get his confidence back. Because I don't think he looks a bit off the pace right now. I think and trust me, I'm a massive Kobe Manu fan. I'm a massive fan of Kobe Manu. I think he's going to be I think he's going to be a great player in the future. But my issue is the guy is not the guy is being overplayed. He's being overused, and he's being he's been played in the wrong system or in the wrong role. He cannot be played as the lone six, so that's why I want to see him play in the 10 tomorrow, just to get his confidence back. Because when he came on, I remember when he came on against Leicester a couple seasons ago, at home, he came on and he came on and he put in a really good shift because he was driving the ball forward. He wasn't scared to take players on. But tomorrow, obviously, no disrespect to Barnsley, but I want to see players, pick up the pace, pick up where we left off from against Southampton. Obviously, Southampton in the weekend. They're not a good team. They're not a great team, but neither are Barnsley. So we should be beating them tomorrow comfortably. I think United should win the game tomorrow. But obviously, we've got the Champions League coming up this week, and we're not going to spend too long on the Champions League. But I want to see. I just want to see what do you guys think with the Champions League? What do you think is going to win? Because there's some interesting fixtures this week. There's AC Milan, Liverpool. You've got City against Inter. PSG versus Girona could be a good game. You got Atalanta against Arsenal, Monaco, Barca, Atletico Madrid against Leipzig, and you obviously got the odd ones like Brest against Sturm Graz. But I want to know what do you guys think of this week? What's going to happen in the Champions League? One of you two.
Milan Liverpool is the big game. I think it's the highlight. That should be very fun.
City against Inter as well.
City Inter on Wednesday is the other highlight. Inter didn't start super well. I mean, Napoli's top of the league in Serie A. Conte is doing his job. He's already working his magic. So I think Inter will target the Champions League because they won Serie A already. They've won Coppa Italia. They could be a force. Obviously, City always, Real Madrid always. This format just kind of sucks the joy out of me, honestly. So.
Yeah, I just the thing is, I think they wanted to try something new, and next season, who knows? They could change it back next season, but I just want to see how it turns out because league phase, you just never know who qualify, because it's top 8 teams get into the next round, with the bottom with the bottom 8, or from at least 9 till 16th get into a playoff get into a playoff spot. And below 16 get officially eliminated because they don't.
I think it's 9 to 24. I just checked. It's 9 to 24.
Yeah, 24.
16 team playoff.
Oh yeah. Because then yeah. I
8 winners in that playoff playing the 8 teams in advance. I mean, I don't particularly like it. I don't want to steal your like plan, Ekman, but I have to jump out in a bit.
No, it's fine, bro. So
that's
all good. That's all good, man.
Ask you guys before I left. You can go back to Champions League after I go. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries.
What do you guys think of Tottenham's reaction to losing?
Oh yeah. I forgot to speak on the Spurs Arsenal game. I forgot.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think Arsenal deserves to win the game. If I'm being real, I think Arsenal defended well, but they didn't deserve to win the game as a whole because they didn't attack well. They were very, very lackluster. Even Tottenham were lackluster. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen from a winger standpoint because there was no wingers like there was no real like how do you say it? There was no winger show yesterday. No Saka show, no Son show, no Sterling. Nothing came. Nothing was interesting about the game yesterday. The fact that Arsenal defended very well shows me that they can go to games even if they're on the back foot. They can go and grind it out. They can go and grind it out and still win. Arsenal for me are title contenders. They for me are my picks to win the league. Only because I can see because if they improve off of what they did last season, if they just win a couple more games last season, they win the league. They were one win away last season. I think Arsenal have a good chance. They're going to the Etihad this weekend.
I don't know. I don't think they're better than last year.
Because usually Arsenal because last year Arsenal started off very slowly, but then they picked up the pace after January because they played their best games after January last season. Because I remember they won every single game apart from one or they drew one. They went unbeaten.
Can I add
Yeah,
some
go ahead.
context?
Go ahead.
There was a big issue. Last season, Arsenal stayed fit for the overwhelming majority of the season. Arsenal were fit. Their star player, their crucial squad players were fit. Whereas with City, if you remember, Erling Haaland and KDB were injured for at least a third of the season. So Arsenal were very fortuitous with how lucky they were with injuries last season. Whereas this season, City seemed fit. Haaland had a preseason without the European Championships. He rested. He's recovered. He's revved up. He's fired to go. And City seem a little bit more
goals in 4 games.
And that Savinho kit, bro. That Savinho kit looks crazy good, man.
My point here is, I think again, last season Arsenal were very lucky. They were lucky to be within 1 point of City. Sure, they deserve to win a lot of the games that they won, but if the laws are proportionate, I do think City will win because they're better by every metric: squad, staff, style of play, system, standards. I think City will win. And for Arsenal to win, I think it will take a bunch of injuries to key players like Haaland and KDB. But again, I don't think that'll happen.
But on Tottenham yesterday, Ange showed a lot of vulnerability yesterday. Ange and his tactics yesterday did not work. It just, there's no creativity from the Spurs team. There's no threat in front of goal. Solanke is a good player, but who is the one that's playing him in? Like, there's so many times where I could name you Spurs were on the counter and they messed up every single counter. They messed up that final pass many times. And Arsenal defended extremely well yesterday. I have to give so much credit to Gabriel. Gabriel now has 15 Premier League goals as a defender. It's mad. And I don't know how many seasons the guy's played.
With Tottenham, with Ange, you know what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Either you trust him or you don't. It's that simple. If you don't trust him, then let him go. We'll take him. I don't know, Japan will take him. Celtic will take him. Everywhere he's gone, he is loved for a reason, right? Because he gets the job done, right? And you build, first of all, you sign players who are not players who are going to win you anything this season, right? They signed Lucas Bergvall, who's like 18, 19. Archie Gray, 18.
Dragosan.
You sign all these players who are young. They're future-oriented signings.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, why do you then turn around after 4 games and be like, oh, this has been a disaster? It hasn't been a disaster. What's a disaster is their expectations. Like,
facts.
Where do they get these crazy expectations? I don't understand, And then after the game, someone asked Ange about winning, and Ange said, every second season I win something, I win second.
The thing is with Tottenham though, they have gone like 17 years without a trophy, so that's why I think now it's start. Now they should start demanding more as a football club.
They've tried this. They tried Mourinho, who wins everywhere he goes.
They sacked him for a final.
He failed, right? Mourinho wins everywhere and he failed. Conte wins everywhere and he failed. You've tried this already. You can't keep doing the same thing expecting a different result.
Yeah. And again,
the vision.
What I would say again is, if you're Tottenham Hotspur, with the amount of revenue you invest and the amount of output you have, you don't deserve to win titles. So there's so much you can blame on Ange Postecoglou, but if you compare it to how much United, City, Liverpool, Chelsea spend, you don't deserve to win trophies. So it's a whole club issue. I don't think pinning it on Ange is fair on Ange, but simultaneously, I don't think Tottenham are ready to win trophies yet.
No, the thing is with Spurs, right? I don't think they've replaced Harry Kane well enough. They've made some decent signings. I like Maddison. I think Maddison's a good player. But Van de Ven, trust me, Van de Ven's a very, very good player. And in the last few games, you've seen a style of play. But which Tottenham manager has lost 3 home games in a row to Arsenal? That has not happened since nearly 50 years ago, which is mad. And imagine losing to Arsenal on your own patch 3 times in a row, like 3 seasons running. That must hurt as a Spurs. Any Spurs fan would be like, they're not happy with that. And I can understand the frustration from Spurs fans now because they're still yet to see an identity. They're still yet to see that drive to win. Because Tottenham have been winning for many, many years now. They moved to a new stadium. The aim should have changed. The aim should have been like we need to win a few trophies now because we've left White Hart Lane. We've now moved into the new stadium next door. We now have to start aiming to be like a big club. Tottenham are not doing that. Daniel Levy is just not. He's not a serial winner. Daniel
Look,
Levy
this will
is
piss off the Tottenham fans more than anything else. But if they want to know what to do, look across North London, because Arteta went through a much worse spell than Ange ever did, and they stuck with him, and then he turned it around. And you can see, if it wasn't for Pep, how many titles would he have won? You're sure you can turn around and say, well, what's Arteta won? But sure, he's won FA Cups. He's got them back competing among Europe's elite, and because they trusted him and gave him time. If you're not going to trust Ange, let him go. Let him go somewhere where he'll be respected. Simple as that. Either you let him go and you keep hiring these Conte characters, Mourinho characters, and seeing the same thing happen over and over again. I'll enjoy it. It's great fun to watch them fail. This is why I don't like it that Ange is there, because Ange is actually good. And I don't say this as like, I think no. I'm a J League fan. I adore Ange. This guy's amazing. I've been watching him since Yokohama, right? I'm a J League fan, full on. Tiwaton. It's time at Yokohama. Him being there actually scares me because I know he can actually. If one guy can win something at Spurs, it's him, because he can completely change the mentality. He is the king of mentality. He is number one when it comes to that. He's got that great old Aussie pep talk that he can do anything to a player.
I remember, Augusta, you can say something about Ange Postecoglou or something. I think you were there at the City group or something with I think he was there as well, wasn't he?
No, at least to my knowledge, he wasn't with City. He didn't work with City, no affiliation with City. But yes, he has a history.
But he was there at the City. I think he was there at the City group or something. I remember Big Steve was saying something on the stream that Ange was there at the Man City. How do you call it? I think he went to meet Pep Guardiola or something, and he went to he went to the City group because I think apparently was it one of the Celtic or something?
Yokohama is part of the group, yeah.
Yeah, Yokohama part of the group. So he was probably the manager at the time. Yeah, that makes sense now. Yeah, because he probably went to a City group meeting.
But directly, no.
But no, directly. But yeah, so I like Ange. I think Ange is a good manager, but he needs. But next game, I want to see more ruthlessness from Tottenham, because they've got a tough month coming up. They've got Europa League coming up. They've got the Carabao Cup. They've got a lot of games, and trust me when I say it's going to be a long month for Spurs. Where they don't pick up form now, it's curtains for Spurs, man. Trust me.
Look, if they sack him, Japan will take him. National team of Japan, he'll have a great World Cup. If you're going to disrespect Pochettino, disrespect Postecoglou, fine, you can do that. But when Spurs had Poch, they were better because Poch is the same kind of manager as this. He's
that
the
reminds
kind of
me.
He builds over a long term.
Does Poch go back to Spurs then?
No, he's at the US. He's USA now. He's
right. I forgot he joined the USA.
But I'm saying that this style of coach, this Pochettino guy, the kind of, I'm going to build over a long term. I'm going to lift the quality of the team up through a defined style, not just I'm going to park 11 guys behind the ball and hope we grind out results. That's not how you compete with teams like City and Arsenal. You can't do it.
Yeah, you can't compete with City and Arsenal like that, because especially the way they're moving forward as well as a football club. They're more on top now, because look, United are not as serious. The only club in the Premier League that's properly serious is Manchester City right now. Like let's be real. Arsenal only got serious in the last 2 years, but Man City have been serious for a long time now. Man City have the structure.
Liverpool pretty serious, mate. I don't know how you Liverpool pretty damn serious to me.
I think it's a mix, because a lot of fans are unhappy with FSG and the way they back managers, because yes, this is Slot's first season, and he needs time to see his squad, but like Liverpool need for me they needed a 6. Liverpool should have gone and got and signed a 6 this summer because they needed a good holding midfielder. Gravenberch is not for me. Gravenberch is not the answer. He's a good player, but he's not the answer. Endo, good player. I rate Endo a lot, but he's not the answer. If you're going to compete if Liverpool have a game against Real Madrid coming up soon, and trust me, that midfield is looking peak. That midfield is not. That midfield is an issue. If Real Madrid carve through Liverpool, is curtains because they're not going to be able to contain the pace of Mbappe, Vinny, and Rodrigo. It's. So what I'm saying is, I think FSG are not great owners because I'm a Red Sox fan, right? And I hear a lot of stuff about the Red Sox, the way they run the Red Sox. John Henry is not a good sports owner.
Yeah.
He
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, when they bought Liverpool, it was worth 400 million pounds. Now it's worth 4 billion pounds. I don't know where Agassia is gone, but Agassia likes to compare football to corporate management a lot. And he's right. It is comparable. If you take over a firm valued at 400 million pounds and within 15 years of your management is worth 4 billion pounds, that's a miracle. That's a fucking miracle. And over the long, you can focus on one summer and say, oh, FSG are bad this one summer. But over the length of their ownership of Liverpool, they have pulled off a fucking miracle. They are incredibly good owners. They're fantastic owners. And everyone has a bad year or a bad couple, two bad years in a row. That can happen when you're running a business.
They've done well with Jurgen Klopp, but as a sports owner, as a Red Sox fan myself, I don't think John Henry is all
I'm gonna annoy you, Ekavit. Of the big 6 owners, they're the best.
Ooh, that's a great take.
I disagree.
Because
I think City owners
have the fountain of wealth. They don't have to care. If you take Liverpool, actually create value. They generated the value themselves. They generated the wealth themselves.
The thing is with Man City is though they've laid a foundation. Khaldoon Al-Mubarak has laid a foundation.
But they did it with a
Guardiola.
fountain of wealth in the backyard, mate. FSG had to build it themselves.
Yeah, in terms of input versus output, I think
FSG wins.
Yeah, by far, it's not even close.
By far, FSG wins input output.
It's not even close. I think it's
FSG. Just to annoy you, I make that point. I do believe it, but I'm saying it just to annoy you. And
but actually, I think it's
say your point, bro. It's all good, man.
But Gian, with the amount FSG invest and the amount that they've gained, for sure, by far, they're the best owners. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
It's not even debatable.
It's not even.
But yeah, again, I know you need to dip.
Yeah,
bro.
I gotta go. Unfortunately,
thanks for hopping on, bro.
Thank you.
Really
Next
appreciate
week,
it, man.
Again, let me know. I'll join again.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course, anytime, bro. Let me know. We're gonna do this weekly now. We're gonna do this weekly, and we'll be streaming often as well because we have a lot of football coming up as well. And obviously, thanks for supporting the channel, bro. Obviously, you can share it on your Twitter as well, and I'll retweet as well. Thanks, bro. Right. Thanks a lot, man. Take care.
Right, see you. Thanks. See ya.
See ya. Yeah, big up Gan every time, man. My guy, always, man. One of the nicest people you'll ever know. Trust me. If you ever get to meet Gan in person, trust me, he's one of the nicest people, one of the most fun people you ever get to speak to. But big up Gan. Sorry, Shivan, I ignored your comment for a long time, bro. I was just having a long discussion. Big up to you, man. I know we've spoken briefly before on Sophie's channel, but yeah, bro. Spurs game was boring, and really Udinese is top of the league because I know Inter dropped points yesterday as well, but that's mad. And yeah, City Inter will be a good game. We'll talk briefly on United before we wrap up the show. And Amas, I like to see Amas start as well. We'll win 3-0. A good prediction. I'm gonna go with the score. I'm gonna go with 3-0 as well. Format, you don't like it? Fair enough. I mean, everyone has their own opinions, don't they? Yeah, good win against Southampton, but yeah, it doesn't have much. I agree, completely agree with you, bro. I think it tells us nothing about this team yet. I think it was like a very very. It was more like a dull and good performance at the same time. But moving on. We have a lot to discuss still about the Premier League. Obviously, City beat Brentford. Obviously, we're just going to run through the fixtures. Brighton, Ipswich, Brighton 0-0. Leicester bottled a 2-0 lead to Crystal Palace at home. Fulham, 1-0 conceded a last minute equaliser to West Ham at the last minute. Everton, Aston Villa, Everton. Let's speak on Everton a little bit. They are going down, mate. No matter what anyone says, Everton are going down. They've done 2 weeks in a row now. They've been 2-0 up and they've bottled it. To Bournemouth at home in 10 minutes, to Villa. And by the way, that John Duran goal was an absolute thriller. What a goal. That goal was insane. Trust me when I say this, yeah. Villa is scary. Arsenal went to Villa and just completely, like, you know what I mean? They took the game to Aston Villa. They beat Aston Villa, like, not convincingly. But it's mad. And obviously we on Sunday we discussed the Bournemouth Chelsea game. Spurs Arsenal we discussed, and Wolves Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle winning 2-1. But I just want to ask you, yeah, big month ahead for United. Our fixtures this month, obviously we've got Barnsley tomorrow night. We've got how'd you say it? I'm gonna read these fixtures. We've got Palace away on the weekend. We've got Twente at home, and we've got Spurs at home. In your humble opinion, in your non-biased opinion, what do you expect from United? What do you think will happen? Where do you see us come October?
Look, I think Eric Ten Hag has spent a lot of money. He has spent north of £1 billion. And I think by the end of those fixtures, we should see some identity. At the bare minimum, we should know the style of play. We should know what the intention is versus what the implementation is. We should know whether we're executing Eric Ten Hag's philosophy by the end of October. However, the currency of Manchester United, the biggest club in world football, it's not performances, it's results. So
results-driven business. Facts.
And I think you would agree with me completely on this. Had you or I been the manager, let's say manager, assistant manager, either way, whether it was you or me, we would be focusing on games individually. Win every game would be the priority, right? That would be the objective. So, again, from a United fan, ideally, I'd hope we win every game. But realistically, let's just understand who we are as a club, where we are, and what we intend on achieving by the end of the season. That's what I say. What about you, Ekevin?
Look, I'm expecting United to win every single game. Every single game. Barnsley, Palace, Twente should be 3 wins in a row. No excuses. No excuses. Crystal Palace, yeah. If Leicester had a good defense, they would contain Crystal Palace. They wouldn't have bottled us to no lead. They wouldn't. We need to defend better. I like De Ligt. I think De Ligt's a very, very good player. Mazraoui is a very good player. I like our defensive signing, but we didn't strengthen the attack. Where I see the issue is the goals up front is a problem, because I worry about our lack of scoring. Our XG or our XG. I shouldn't use that. Our goals per game has dropped down lots, and we need to score more. We need to be destroying teams. I'm expecting us to beat Twente. Palace away on the weekend. I can see it being a draw, but really, ideally, we should be winning, because we have how many games in a row we've lost? How many games in a row we've dropped to Palace now? We've lost in our last 4 games against Crystal Palace, away at Crystal Palace. Yeah. In 2020, in 2021, 2022. Sorry, in 2020, 2021, we drew 0-0. In 2021, 2022, we lost 1-0. In 2022, 2023, we conceded a last-minute free kick to Crystal Palace.
The 1-1
in 2020, in 2023, 2024, we lost fucking 4-0 to Crystal Palace away. Our last 4 games against Crystal Palace away have been an absolute joke. An absolute joke. We spent 600 million and we still can't even beat Crystal Palace away. It's seriously, like, bro, how we're going to this game on the weekend, yeah. Like, if we go off on the back of 2 wins, I'd be like, you know what? Go for it. Go for it. Because, look, how many times, yeah, Are we going to go to Crystal Palace and struggle? How many more times? We've struggled 4 games in a row now. We've drawn how many games? We've drawn 2 and lost 2. In that time, we have only scored 1 goal. 1 goal in away at Crystal Palace in the last 4 years, and 2 losses with 2 draws. Embarrassing from United, man. Seriously, we don't beat Crystal Palace on the weekend. It's going to be turmoil. It's going to be turmoil, and trust me, I'm not going to take it lightly. I am not going to take it lightly. I'm going to be fuming. Then we have Twente at home. That should be 3 easy points. I don't care what anyone says. That should be 3 easy points. No excuses. Then we have, then who do we have again? We've got Tottenham. We've got Tottenham at home.
Yes.
Yeah, we should be Tottenham at home. We should be beating Tottenham at home. Let's be real. Last year we were doing well, and then Spurs just scored 2 goals out of nowhere, and then they started playing their game, and then we missed the last minute header from McTominay, who thankfully is sold now, and our fans are like, oh, why do we sell McTominay? He's the only player with the mentality and the right mind to play for United. He has the passion. He comes off the bench. He's a box crasher. He's a goal scorer. So why is he not starting for Napoli then? If he doesn't start for Napoli, why does he start for United? Why? Why does he start for United if he doesn't start for Napoli? It's an absolute joke, man. And our fans are just, our fans really piss me off, man. But we need to be in and around, let's say, at least 4th by October. At least the minimum is 4th by October. Within 4 or 5 points off Man City. Within that time, because we've got Porto, Villa, Brentford, Fenerbahce, West Ham, Chelsea. That is a tough period. That period after Tottenham at home, we've got Porto away, Villa away, Brentford at home, Fenerbahce away, West Ham away, Chelsea at home. How many games we win there, I will never know. Because December is going to be a much rather... Oh, never mind. I just saw the fixtures for December, right? Up until the Arsenal game, we have Leicester, we have PAOK, Leicester, Ipswich, Bodo, and Everton at home. That should be 4 wins, comfortably. But my thing with United is, are we even like favorites going into games nowadays? Like, we can't expect much from our football clubs nowadays, don't we? And just before we close it, I want to ask you your predictions on the Champions League this week. Also before we move on to that, what are your final thoughts on United? Like these 4 fixtures, do you think we win all? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, if I was sentimentally, I'd say yes, we win all. But if I'm trying to be as objective and analytical as I can, no, of course not. Because let's be honest, gun to the head, do I have confidence in United winning most of these fixtures? No, I don't. Let alone one, because I can watch the 20 teams in the Premier League. Most of them, overwhelmingly, I can say, hey, I understand how they play. Look, one's attacking, very, very aggressive. One's direct. One's, counter-pressing, gegen-pressing, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. With United, I do not understand how we play. I've watched us the most. I do not understand how we play. Sure, I've seen improvement when it comes to pressing, like I said last week. But even then, with the amount Ten Hag has spent, it's not good enough. It's simply not good enough. And we should, if we're evaluating us based on our size, our squad, our supporters, our staff, we should win every game, especially the games in the groups like Twente, for example. But we won't.
I agree.
I know we won't, because we simply aren't good enough. We don't have the mind. We don't have the accountability. There's no impetus. there's no responsibility. So it comes to the point here of, like I said, Ekevin, I hate to be the guy. I hate to be Mr. Negative, Mr. Moaner. But again, until there are wholesale changes, especially with the staff, I don't think this club will succeed. And Erik ten Hag might be the nicest guy in the world, but with him at the helm and with there no accountability being held against him, I don't think this club will succeed. I don't know if you agree with me here, Ekevin. I'm just thinking long term.
Look, it really depends on what we do against Barnsley and Crystal Palace. I know it sounds absolutely fucking weird because as a United fan, but
Yes.
in these next two games, it depends on what we do. And moving on, I just want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Champions League? So I'm going to start you off with AC Milan versus Liverpool. What are your predictions on that game?
Is it our Liverpool on the road?
San Siro. Yep.
I think a draw. What about you?
I want to say AC Milan win. But yeah, a draw. Bayern Zagreb, Bayern easy win.
For sure.
Yeah, Real Madrid Stuttgart, Real Madrid win comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Sporting against Lille, I'm going with Sporting on that one.
Agreed.
Bologna against Shakhtar, I'm going with Bologna
Okay.
at home.
Sure.
Sparta against Salzburg, I'm going with Salzburg away to win.
I'll go with Sparta.
To beat Salzburg.
Yeah, I mean, I've not watched either team. That's a flip.
Fair enough.
So,
Celtic against Bratislava, I'm going with Celtic.
agreed, for sure.
Dortmund against Club Brugge, 2-1 Club Brugge. I'm going with a controversial win. Club Brugge win.
I like that. I respect that. I'll go with Dortmund.
I like Dortmund, but they're very inconsistent.
Fair. I think they'll win.
Man City Inter. Now this is gonna be a good game.
I got City. I got City comfortably by at least a two goal margin.
I'm going with the 2-1 City win. I don't think it'll be as easy as you think.
Fair.
PSG Girona, yeah, PSG win this one.
Well, yeah.
Final Bayer Leverkusen, I'm going with Leverkusen.
Yeah, I agree.
Crvena Zvezda against Benfica. I'm going with Crvena Zvezda.
Over Benfica.
Sorry. Yeah. Fuck it. Why not?
I mean,
why not?
Again, I've not seen either team, so I hate to
wild
analyze
predictions.
Watch.
I'm going with wild prediction.
I'll just
Atalanta Arsenal.
Ooh.
I'm going with Atalanta.
I think it'll be a draw on the road.
I think Atalanta win because Arsenal have Odegaard injured. It really depends on who they play this week, because they have City away at the Etihad,
which I think City will get.
Which could be. I'm going with the draw that game. I think Arsenal City will be a draw, but I think Arsenal lose away to Atalanta. Atletico Madrid against Leipzig. I'm going to Atletico win.
Agreed. Good form.
Brest against Sturm Graz. I'm going with Brest.
Sure.
And Monaco Barca. I'm going with Barca. I speak on Barcelona, by the way. I don't like Barcelona. I don't like Barcelona that much. But Hansi Flick, he's come in and he has a style of play. The guy already has a style of play at Barcelona, which is crazy. Just look at the way they play. Just look at the way Barcelona play. Yesterday, I watched the game against Girona. Their pass movement, slip pass through. It's scary to play against Barcelona right now. It's scary because, bro, Barcelona, right? Their squad depth isn't the best, but he's got the best out of the players he has. He's got them playing good football. Hansi Flick is the real deal, and I wanted him at United for so long. To replace Ten Hag last season, when I told people Hansi Flick was available, they didn't listen to me. They said, "No, but Ten Hag's still the guy. You have to give him time." Really, give Ten Hag time after all that. Hansi Flick is the guy, man. Hansi Flick is the guy, and trust me, he's gonna cook with Barcelona. But I still think Real Madrid win the league, and I still think Real Madrid will win the Champions League again this year. They'll eventually click. I know it's not looking great right now for Real Madrid. The results, like I know Real Madrid are winning games, but they're not playing like amazing football. I think it'll eventually click. I think Mbappe, Vinny, and Rodrigo will start scoring goal after goal after goal. I think they'll start hitting the ground running soon. I think the system will eventually work, and I think Real Madrid will start slapping teams as soon as players start find a way to hit the ball in the back of the net. But yeah, I just want to close the stream out. Obviously, it was a good discussion today. We discussed F1, we discussed Premier League, we discussed a bit of the Champions League. People, and anyone that's come across the stream or anyone that's been in the chat, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Please share with your mates. Please comment down below of your thoughts of anything we discussed. And any feedback, please put it in the comments, because it'd be good to hear your feedback. And obviously, please support the channel, because I really need the algorithm to go up. We need more subs. We need to get more traction. Obviously, I'm doing this as I like.
Oh, I think Ekevin has disconnected.
Oh, sorry,
So-
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, yeah. So as I was saying, I'm doing this full time now. So obviously I want to. I need more people to sub. I need more people to share, like, subscribe. I just all that stuff. And obviously, before we close out, Augusta, anything you want to say? But
Yeah, I mean, look, I would say subscribe to AN Sports, because again, you're not going to get unfiltered, uncensored, and raw content the way Ekevin produces it. Trust me, if you know half the issues that I personally was going through, you wouldn't accept me. So Ekevin, thank you so much for offering me this opportunity.
You're now officially my co-host, so you can run the channel whenever you like. You can go live whenever you like. You know what I mean? You can take control. You can take control of the channel as well, mate. You can anytime let me know. We can go live 100%.
Thank you so much for that. As co-host, I ask everyone watching this, please subscribe, because if you don't subscribe to this, I failed as a co-host. So please subscribe to this. Please make sure to put this on notifications, because every single week there's content, and there's spicy content. Depending on results, you may get content that you will enjoy more or less. Right, Ekevin?
Some results coming up.
Yay!
We'll see what happens with United in the next 24 hours. I'll be watching the game, mate. I know you'll be watching the game as well, and we'll be back tomorrow to discuss the game. Post game live.
I'm looking forward to Singapore as well. Singapore will be fun. We talked a lot about that.
The rest of the F1 will be back. And people, we have NBA coming as well. NBA starting in October, because both of us, Celtics, Mavericks, NBA Finals, we're still talking after the NBA Finals. I'm surprised he's still talking to me after the NBA Finals, because my team completely crushed him.
Yeah, I mean, guys in the chat, if you can get Ekevin to join our fantasy NBA league. I do an NBA fantasy league, so I think Ekevin should join that, because it's fun when he's in there.
Yeah, I will consider it again next season, but people, it's been fun. It's really been fun. But yeah, we're closing out on that, people. Thank you for watching. Please hit that like. I can't talk. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in a bit. Ten Hag out, Glazers out, and all that shit. Take care.
That's a great outro. Ten Hag out.